What is going on, you guys? Pet Platypus here, and it is time for my final, not double, but triple review of Season 1 for the Young Justice series. Now, bear with me, there's 3 episodes, this video will be long, so, be prepared for that. Obviously, you could probably see the runtime for this beast of a video, but anyways, we're talking about episode 24, Performance. This was definitely an interesting episode. After being away from the series for a couple weeks and coming back, I kind of forgot, I should say, how many secrets these motherfuckers have. And what's interesting, though, is that, like, the original 4, the original squad, those dudes are pretty squeaky clean. Like, Aqualad had the shit with knowing that there's possibly a mole and not telling anybody, but aside from that, the original squad of Robin, Kid Flash, Speedy, now Red Arrow, and Aqualad, they're pretty much squeaky clean, and it's all these noobs, Superboy and Artemis and Ms. Martian, that are keeping these secrets. And fucking, he's popping the steroid patches and not telling anybody. Ms. Martian has her, true form shit going on, or whatever that white form was. We got Artemis with her villain family and shit. So, yeah, they're definitely the ones who are keeping the secrets, and I feel like it's all going to come to a head by the end. I think it's very smart that like half of the characters are keeping secrets, because I really feel like once it's all revealed and everything is laid out on the table, there shouldn't really be too much bad blood between them. I feel like there should be some animosity and some like you should have trusted us or you should have told us why we're keeping secrets, but when it's like almost half the team that's doing it, I feel like a lot of them are going to know where each other is coming from with these secrets, and it's going to make things kind of play out a little bit more friendly, I suppose, but maybe not. Maybe there will be a lot of infighting. I don't think it's no full-blown civil war or nothing, but there's only 2 more episodes in this season, and I feel like this whole spy storyline, or not spy, but the mole, same shit, I guess, double agent, whatever, the mole storyline and the secret stuff is going to get wrapped up in this episode, or not in this episode, in this season, I should say. So hopefully that happens. If it carries over, that's cool, I guess, but I think it's something that should be wrapped up by the end of the season. I think that'd be the best case for the writing. But moving on to the actual episode itself, as soon as they showed Robin at the circus, I knew they had to go into the Grayson stuff, the Grayson family. And they do. It's light, they don't give it all away or do any big flashback, but it's heavily implied. They do a good job of it. I like that Wally and him share sort of a separate bond from the other characters because he knows him on a personal level. He knows the secret identity of Robin. He knows Dick Grayson, so I think that was really cool. I kind of wish they played up that relationship a bit more, because I think it's interesting that those two already have that history. And they brought it up a couple of times, but they don't really do anything with it too much. But I guess there's not much to do with it unless you really want to focus on it, so it's not that big of a deal. It's not like a gold mine ripe for the picking or anything. It's a cool little tidbit that I wish they focused on just a touch more. But that's a total nitpick for the series as a whole. Not even really a nitpick. It's just like, well, it could have been even better if they did this, but it's not like an actual negative, you know what I mean? But yeah, I saw the circus stuff and it not actually being a real mission. Also, Wally was funny in that scene. Wally's just been funny since like the 20s of the season, or maybe a little bit before that. Like, his jokes before weren't like groaners or anything, but they were like, oh, that was a cute joke. Like, I didn't groan, I didn't cringe, but it wasn't like super funny. But no, the baloney thing I thought was pretty funny. Like, the timing on that, I thought was pretty clever. I just made a bologna sandwich just like you. Now, what are you really doing over there? That was funny. And Robin, signing them the mission without actually, getting the mission from Batman, I thought was interesting. But yeah, other than that, though, there's not really much else to say about the setup for the episode or the stuff with Robin. I just thought they did a good job handling his backstory. We've seen this a million times in the comics and in other cartoons, but seeing it here for the first time was really good characterization for Robin. Also, Superboy got some characterization here because we see more of his secrets. They know that he could be controlled by Lex Luthor. I'm glad he told them that. But he has not told them about the patches. And he uses the patches. At first I thought, well, he's kind of spamming these patches in an addictive way, and maybe they are addicting, but he is utilizing them in the situations. Like, he's popping a patch, his powers come back quicker, so that the dude who stole them, there's a faster recovery so he can fight more. The X-ray vision, he used that twice with 2 different patches so he could find the guy in the warehouse and see what the guy was carrying inside the briefcase. Or the case, whatever, the crate. So he definitely used the patches for what their potential is. He didn't just do them to do them. But at the same time, there is a possibility that it is making him more aggressive, and the more he uses them, the more they will fuck with his head, possibly create an addiction. We'll have to see what happens. He should definitely get rid of him, though, but he probably won't. And the villain, I guess I should talk about the villain. I forget his name. He's basically a Mazo again, which is kind of lame. He can, like, take their powers and use them, except a Mazo was way cooler, the robot guy from early on. I want to say that was even single-digit episodes, probably. Amazo was way cooler, ability-wise, like, fighting-wise, but this guy was cooler, personality-wise, because, you know, Amazo was just a robot with no real emotions. But the action was still cool. Nothing too explosive or crazy. I was kind of pleasantly surprised at how they handled it with strategy by utilizing the fire as a Martian weakness. He had Miss Martian's powers, so the fire was a weakness. And then the cop came in. And the cop, I'm not throwing out any crazy theories or nothing, because I forget what Lex Luthor sounds like in this series, because it's been a couple of weeks. But I know that Clancy Brown has played Lex Luthor in previous incarnations of the character, and then I see this guy with Clancy Brown's voice and this face where it's just like, take the wig off and you're fucking Lex Luthor, so that was kind of funny. Again, not creating any super crazy conspiracy theories, I just thought that was funny, that he looks so much like a Lex Luthor type of face, where if you just took off the hair and made him bald, he'd pretty much be Lex Luthor, and he has Clancy Brown's voice. I didn't say anything out loud, but I almost said Tom Clancy, and then I fixed it to Clancy Brown. But anyway, so that was kind of a funny little tidbit. But yeah, the characterization for Robin, the characterization for Superboy, both interesting. Even Red Arrow got some characterization, because he... You know, I just realized that his name is Red Arrow. I literally just realized that, like, there's Green Arrow and then Red Arrow. I knew he was calling himself Red Arrow, but I never put together that it's basically the same name as Green Arrow with a different color. I mean, it is. It's just, I never realized that his superhero name is basically a ripoff of his old masters, but whatever. Total digression, I just never really put that together for some reason. Him saying there's probably no mole because at any time any of the characters there could have betrayed him and they didn't, so there's most likely no mole. I don't know. I think he jumped the gun a bit. I mean, true, all the characters seem trustworthy, but Superboy could still be doing shit without realizing it. Like, even if he didn't betray you there in combat, he could still, in the middle of the night, go over to Lex Luthor and be like, "Yo, bro, there's some stuff I gotta tell you," and then knock out fucking whatever Lex Luthor says to him, puts him back in bed, and, you know, he's got the information, so that shit could still be happening. I still think there's some kind of mole going on. I don't know what they're going to throw at me when it gets there, but I'm excited. And it'll be in this video. I'll get to talk about it in this video. You guys won't even have to wait to hear my thoughts on it, except for a few more minutes. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. The animation was, of course, great. The voice acting was awesome. I'm definitely interested to see where they're going to take the Superboy stuff and the whole, like, mole storyline and the stuff with all the other characters and their secrets. Definitely curious where all that's going to go. But with all that being said, I'm going to set this one at like a 7.5 to 8 out of 10. It was a good episode. I liked the characterization. I liked the moment Robin had with the circus owner, because he knew it was Dick Grayson the whole time. Yeah, all that was cool. A little light on action. Didn't need it. I liked the strategy with the fire and everything. I thought that was a nice way of doing it as well. They handled the situation pretty good. They were pretty on top of things, which shows improvement as a team and everything. So all that stuff was cool. All that stuff was great. So with all that being said, it's a good to very good, somewhere in between, and now I'll move on to episode 25. I guess I won't know until I go into the editing, but I feel like episode 24, the review I made, was very long-winded and longer than it needed to be, but I haven't talked about the series in a while, so maybe that's why. Point is, 25 and 26 are going to be shorter. I'm not going to skim out on you guys, but I'm going to try and make these shorter so that the entire video isn't ridiculously long. And so it's not ridiculously long. I'm going to start with the elephant in the room for me. This will be a touchy one to talk about, but the new character, whose name I'm not even sure, I didn't catch her name, but she flew, and she was like purple-pink, and she had a barrier. Okay, from an objective standpoint, from a reviewer standpoint, she's fine. Her action scenes are good, she plays her part, she helps out, her design is good, all that stuff's great. Her personality, though, I'm not really a fan of the sassy, loud, black woman personality. And she's not a big offender of this stereotype. And obviously, it's not like a racist thing. I mean, if it's a white dude with a shitty personality, or a black dude with a shitty personality, or a Mexican dude with a shitty personality, you're going to find it annoying in real life or in fiction, in cartoons or in movies or whatever. You're going to find it annoying if it's just something you find annoying. It's not really a matter of color. But yeah, she is this kind of sassy, loud black woman. And I'm just not a fan of that kind of character. I think it's annoying. Not a horrible offender of it. Not even the worst stereotype of it. And I can definitely get used to her. Just want to address that because she's a new character, so I figured I'd go a little bit into her in terms of like her personality traits and her powers and everything. Her powers seem cool. I'm not really sure what they are. I guess energy based. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the character. I don't know if she's like a carbon copy of her superhero, the Icon guy. I feel like she's not like him because Superman thought he might be Kryptonian, so if he can make like barriers and shit, I mean, can Superman make barriers? So, yeah, I don't know. They probably have different powers, but digression aside, she seems fine for what she is. I just don't like that kind of character personally, but that's not a negative against the episode because objectively she gets all the jobs done that she needs to get done. So moving on to the episode itself, this is a phenomenal episode. Like, this episode is probably one of the best in the series. It's an amazing episode easily. The confessions were perfect. There's so many other ways they could have done this. There were bad ways, there were other good ways they could have done this, but the way they did it was perfect because there's so many moments in cartoons or even anime where you see a character make a certain decision or do a certain thing or keep a certain secret and you're just like, don't do that, it's stupid, don't make that decision. And they do. And it's annoying, but you buy it or whatever, you deal with it. In this, it's like, don't make the stupid decision, Superboy. You looked bad, you almost got Artemis killed, now you're going to leave. Suddenly, why? What the fuck? Don't do it. And he doesn't fucking do it. He turns around and he confesses everything. And then Artemis confesses, and then Miss Martian confesses, which was also, Wally, I don't know what the fuck you've been doing, dude, but you were like so much funnier than before. Like, it's not like a laugh out loud, gut-busting joke, but just when he's like, all right, who's next to reveal all their secrets? And Miss Martian's like, I am. And he's like, I was joking. Like, that was really funny. Like I said, it wasn't a gut buster, but it was still, like, he's a lot funnier than he used to be. I don't know why. I guess the writers just got a little sharper with his dialogue, but yeah, so that was funny. And then, of course, Miss Martian transforms and it stops being funny because she has to get all heartfelt and stuff. But it works. And Superboy already knowing about it the whole time and just waiting for her to tell him. I think it shows a lot of understanding. It really adds to their relationship. It makes their relationship a lot more legitimate than it already was. So, I mean, all the confessions, all of that stuff from all of them, and they didn't keep any extra secrets. They laid it all out on the table, and I'm so glad they didn't hide any of it. It was perfect. It was literally perfect. And it was amazing. I can't fanboy enough about that scene. It was absolutely perfect. The way they tricked the villains, the big action scene at the end. Even the action scene at the beginning, aside from the Riddler having a pretty weird, his voice was very awkward to me. I didn't like his voice actor at all. Sounded like a teenager. But other than the Riddler's voice, and again, not a problem with the episode itself, because he's a character who carries over from other episodes. It's more a problem with this version of the Riddler, if anything. The fight there was great when Superboy puts the patch on and goes all aura aura and gives the rapid punch to fucking, I forget who he was fighting. I think it was the hulking dude from Bane's episode, like way back, like episode 4 or something. But yeah, he gives that dude the rapid punch, and it almost gets Artemis killed, but that part aside, it was extremely badass. So yeah, it was cool to see him go all out with the full Superman powers, and that whole opening action scene was cool. Zatara clearly getting better with her abilities, wrapping that dude up with like a snake and then covering his mouth with the rope. All that stuff was great. Did she do that to Riddler, or was that to someone else? I forget, but I think maybe that was actually in the second climax. I'm not too sure. I watched the episode last night, and I'm reviewing it this morning. But yeah, it was a really fucking cool. It was really cool fighting in the beginning in the snow, and it was a really cool fight at the end when they tricked the villains. Of course, Lex Luthor gets away. The Illuminati is still at large, and they finally figure it out. They finally say, yeah, I've been blackmailed by Queen Bee and all this other stuff, and there's no mole. There's no actual legitimate mole in the team, and well, I'll talk about that when I get to the end of the episode, but yeah, the action scenes are great, the confession's amazing, You know it's coming, but I gotta talk about the ending first. The Justice League under the control of the Illuminati. Half-Life 3 confirmed the conspiracies are happening. Red Arrow was the mole, but he didn't realize it. Now, why is that? I'm still holding to my out there theory about the dude at Cadmus looking exactly like him and sounding exactly like him. I think if Red Arrow was a clone of this Guardian dude, that would make Red Arrow susceptible to mind manipulation like Superboy. Also, I love that they overwrite the Red Sun thing. That was really cool that Miss Marston did that, utilizing her powers in a cool way. That was really cool. But yeah, Red Arrow snaps out of it and says, oh shit, I'm the mole. And they're like, yeah, you are. So it's kind of like, what the fuck? Why do you not know that you're the mole? And like I said, it's probably a mind control. And how was he mind controlled? And I'm assuming that it was because, well, I'm not assuming, I'm theorizing that he may be a clone of that dude from Cadmus, and that's why they have some way of tricking him or mentally manipulating him. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but it would make sense, though it is a stretch. I'm not too sure if they even had the same voice actor, but they sounded extremely similar. And if he had said, I'm his dad, fine, but he's like, no, that's my nephew, and really, like, you look at that fucking similar, so I feel like something's going on there. Maybe another twist will happen, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, the villain coming into the Watchtower. The Justice League kneels on one knee. It's just, oh my god. They kneeled before Zod, but not really because he's not Zod. But they kneeled. That's the point. So, oh man, it was just phenomenal. It was a phenomenal episode. I'm going to do it. Get the applause ready. An 11 out of 10 episode of Young Justice. Again, aside from some personal gripes, this episode was absolutely perfect. The action scenes were great. The characters struggled in their fights, but were still able to pull through. The twist ending was fantastic. The overall, just everything about the episode, just everything. Again, 2 minor gripes that are just personal for me. Fuck that. It's an 11 out of 10 episode. Just the fact that they handled the confessions the way they did, what it does for the overall story progression of the team, which is progression for the story, like I said, and then the characterization and character development and progression there is so on point. You add all that greatness with great action scenes, and even Cheshire kind of doing some suspicious stuff, like saying, fuck you, Dad, I'm going to bail out. It was really, really cool. It set up for the finale really well, especially with that ending. It already would have been a great episode, but then the ending was just, oh shit. So, yeah, the Justice League under the control of the Illuminati. It's fucking, it's crazy. It's going to be a cool finale. Can't wait to talk about episode 26, which I'm going to do right now. So I'm giving this one an 11 out of 10. I will give a final rating to both of these episodes together, because it seems to be like a 2-part finale. I guess you could argue maybe not, but I feel like this is probably like a 2-part finale. They definitely ended it on a cliffhanger to set up more, so I'm going to say it's a 2-parter. I'm going to give both an overall rating and their own individual ratings, but anyways, with that being said, maybe an 11 out of 10 is a little strong for this one, but all the technical aspects were good, and it didn't blow my mind necessarily, but I'm just so glad, because there's so many moments where you'll be watching a cartoon or an anime or whatever, and like I said, you'll see the characters about to make a really stupid decision, and they do it, and it's not for like good drama or anything, it's just to prolong some secret or prolong some bullshit plot line, and it's like, don't make that decision, you're going to make yourself look bad or whatever, and this didn't, and it's just so cool that it did that, and I shouldn't have to praise it for doing that, but you know how cartoons can be with cliches. So, yeah, but I loved it. 11 out of 10 might be a little too strong, but I'm holding that one to it. I don't think I like it as much as the No Adults, No Kids World one. I don't think I like this episode as much as that one, subjectively. But objectively speaking, I think this one did more for the overall story for sure. It's a better episode in that regard. But anyways, episode 26. So episode 26, the finale. This one was called, like, something, Acquaintance. I got the title right over here on Netflix. Yeah, I don't know what that first word is. It's kind of like old, but it's like A-U-L-D, old. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Title doesn't matter, though. This episode was great. But I will say, I can't believe I'm about to say this. I can't believe I'm about to pull this quote, but it's the only quote I can possibly give right now. I was whelmed by this episode. Yes, I just fucking said that. I pulled the fucking Robin quote. They've been dragging out since episode 1. I was whelmed by this episode. I wasn't underwhelmed. I wasn't overwhelmed. I was whelmed by this episode. I'm a little disappointed. Not really, because there's still some really good action. The ending is great, because it leaves more mystery. The stuff with Red Arrow being a clone. Yes! Yes! I'm feeling like a fucking Nostradamus over here. Whatever his name is. The fucking dude who predicted a bunch of shit. Fuck it. But yeah, feeling like that fucker right now. Now, it's not exactly as I said. He wasn't a clone of the Guardian dude. He was a clone of the real Speedy, which makes sense. I don't know why, because like him being a clone of the Guardian would mean that he's been with Cadmus this whole time, and then Speedy that they've known for so long, and you know the backstory. A lot of pieces would be, there'd be a lot of holes with that theory if it was true. But he's a clone of the real Speedy, and Speedy, we see him. He's in the tank. He has a missing arm. The real Speedy hasn't been around for a long time, and that's such a cool twist. That's actually a twist I came up with. When I was talking to my friend, we were just joking around like, hey bro, what if I like took off a mask or revealed to you that you haven't been hanging out with the real me in like 5 years and just blow someone's mind or something. And that's pretty much what they did here. They haven't been interacting with the real Speedy for a long time, and it's really cool and kind of dark and kind of like creepy because it's like, oh shit, like this guy's not him, and he's still a good character. And he was under the mind control. Pretty much everything I said was true, except for him being a clone of Guardian, or whatever the fuck that dude's name is, from Cadmus. So, with all that being said, I'm glad that was true, because I predicted that. That was pretty awesome. But everything else about the episode, aside from the action scenes and everything, like, I don't know, like, they're able to build a anti-mind control device off-screen. They mentioned a couple names. I'm assuming they're scientists that we've seen before in the series that helped them do it. I like seeing the Illuminati guys, talk about how, like, oh yeah, we had all these mind control guys, and we used some misdirection, and put people in key positions, and we knew all of this stuff, but seeing it all come together and see how the plan all got laid out was pretty nice. And, yeah, but the big thing about this episode that really disappointed me is I don't feel like the team struggled enough. I really feel like the League members went down kind of easy. They were able to stealth a couple of them and slap the healing chip on them. The healing chip being permanent was a little bit it's okay, I suppose. It makes sense. You don't want these guys to be too overwhelmed. Just pardon that one. But you don't want them to be too overwhelmed by the Justice League so they can't win. But at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, you guys are slapping chips on these guys pretty damn easily. And it's kind of like, I mean, it's not the worst. They definitely use strategy to do it. I especially love when Red Arrow fires a fire arrow at Martian Manhunter, and even though he turned intangible, it goes through him with the fire and it damages him. I thought that was really, really cool. I was like, nice. Like, that was a really cool moment for Red Arrow right there. And just all the action scenes were pretty damn cool. And seeing Superboy versus Superman, and then finally getting some kind of closure. That's another issue I have with the very ending of this episode. Is it did feel kind of rushed. Like, okay, Artemis and Wally have had like a little bit of a romance kind of brewing for a while, so they finally just kissed, and obviously Superboy and Miss Martian are fine. But I don't know, the Zatara Robin thing has been hinted at, but they sort of just kissed, and I know that doesn't mean that they're in love or anything. But that was a touch rushed, and the Superman-Superboy interaction at the end was a touch rushed. Like, we haven't focused on that in a long time, and it finally came back in the finale for a brief second. And obviously, it's not a big romance, but the one chick kissing Aqualad, I know she thinks he's hot, obviously. She has a thing for him. And it wasn't like a make-out session or nothing. She just gave him like a peck. So it's a nitpick, but the romance stuff seemed a touch rushed from some of the characters. The father-son thing with Connor and fucking Superman was a little like, rushed, kind of like didn't get a lot of focus, and now it finally came back and Superman's cool with him. Seemingly out of nowhere. Not that he doesn't have reasons, but I think you know why I would say it's kind of out of nowhere. But I like the cliffhanger ending with the 6 Justice League members, because they come through some weird portal that we don't know what the fuck. Like, they come back not through the Watchtower thing. And also, we find out that they fucking were off doing some mission for 16 hours, and Batman's like, what the fuck did we do? So, it's very interesting. Yeah, the clone thing was great. The ending was great with the cliffhanger. There was a lot of cool action scenes, especially Superboy versus Superman and Robin versus Batman. That was really, really cool. A lot of cool moments here, but just a couple aspects in the wrapping up of it that were kind of rushed, and I was just kind of whelmed at how the team, I hate to say it again, but I had to. I was whelmed by how the team handled the situation so easily. There wasn't a ton of struggle. They busted out the kryptonite on Superman, though. That was cool. And I'm trying to remember, there was other tidbits in this episode, too, and I'll probably mention them when I start up my Season 2 reviews. But, yeah, it was a really good episode, though. It was great. I will give it probably a solid 9.5 out of 10. It was an amazing, close to, like, truly outstanding, close to 10 out of 10 episode. I wouldn't give it an 11 out of 10. I do think, once again, things were a touch rushed towards the end. Just a touch, not bad, but just a touch rushed. I thought that the ease at which they were able to free a lot of the League members was kind of iffy. I mean, it knocked them out, so it wasn't like they were gaining allies. So I guess that kind of balances it out a bit, but yeah, I'm not too sure. It was just kind of, it was okay, but, I don't know. I guess I am disappointed just because I had such high expectations for the finale, especially after such a well-written previous episode. I mean, it got an 11 out of 10. Whether you think that's too strong of a rating or not, I still think that episode deserves a high rating. So, for this one to be the follow-up, not that it's bad at all. Maybe I did set my expectations too high, but it was still really good. And it answered a lot of questions, and from an overall story progression standpoint, it was absolutely amazing. So it's, like I said, it still gets an easy 9.5 to 10 out of 10. It's still an absolutely incredible episode. Like, that's the thing I want to keep in mind. I'm still, from an objective reviewing standpoint, giving this a extremely high score. It's not getting the 11 because it didn't, blow my mind and I had issues with it. But it's still in the 9.5 to 10 out of 10 range. It's still in the some of the best the series has done. I mean, like I said, the planning by the villains, revealing all that stuff, the characterization on Red Arrow, the action sequences, just everything that was going on, the cliffhanger ending. So much of this episode was absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, I can't praise it enough, but at the same time I was slightly disappointed and whelmed by it. I guess saying I was disappointed would mean I was underwhelmed, but I really wasn't. I was whelmed by this episode. It was another fantastic episode. I was just expecting an 11 out of 10, which I guess I shouldn't expect that, but from a series this good, I guess I did set my expectations a touch too high, but it's still an amazing episode. It's a great way to end the first season, cliffhangering into the next season. I watched these on Netflix, and the first episode of season 2, there we go. It started up, and it looked like it was going to pick up right where this one left off, which is really interesting. So, yeah, I don't know when I'll start the season 2 reviews. I mean, relatively soon. Tomorrow's going to be the surprise review, and then we'll go back to the regularly scheduled programming. Maybe when we hit Saturday, I might do the first 2 episodes of season 2. But, anyways, that's Young Justice, Season 1. It was amazing. The characterization, storytelling, twists and turns, and all that action sequences, animation, everything was outstanding. It was top-notch entertainment. I definitely enjoyed it. Really glad I gave this series a chance. And even though it's been a while since Netflix made that announcement, I really do hope that they can go through with giving this one more season, just maybe to cap it off, But we'll just have to wait and see, but, I still have to see Season 2 first before we get to fucking a Season 3. But Season 2 will come in time. So, with all that being said, what did you guys think of these episodes of Young Justice? You can tell me in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on the complete first season of the Young Justice series? You can also tell me that in the comment section below. You can follow me on Instagram or add me on PSN. I'm Pet Platypus on both. You can also give this video a thumbs up and share it on social media. Both those would help me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already or if you like what you've seen here, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.